I'm 35 years old, I don't want a bride price, and I'm even willing to give a man $7,000 as a dowry. Because if I don't get married soon, I might not even be able to have children, and I'm really anxious. Many people say that a female master's degree holder like me, with a condo and a car and a degree, must have a high standard for men, right? They might have been high before, but now it's true that if you have high standards, you won't be able to get married. So now, I don't care about houses, cars, degrees, height, looks, jobs, or even whether you've been married before or not. Character is the most important thing. Besides that, I hope you have a high IQ and EQ, and are honest, responsible, and family-oriented. I was born in 1996, 36 years old. Let's get married right away. I don't want a bride price, I just want you to be a good man to settle down with. Beijing has indeed entered an era where women pursue men. There are far more single women than men, and good men have all already been snapped up. Even if a man is in his 30s or divorced, as long as he owns a home and a car and his conditions are acceptable, he's still very sought after. Many unmarried women are also willing to accept a divorced man. But once a woman is over 30, no matter how good her conditions are, she's easily criticized. This harsh reality really makes one sigh. Women who want to find a partner sooner really need to start early. The so-called leftover women usually refer to women who are highly educated, professionally capable, and economically independent, but who haven't entered into marriage in a timely manner. They're not unable to get married, but rather unwilling to marry for the sake of marriage. In Beijing, the number of older single women has exceeded 1.3 million, and the ratio of men to women in the matchmaking market is as high as 1 to 9. But they haven't been overwhelmed by anxiety. Instead, they appear in every corner of the city with independent and elegant figures. In office building elevators, CBD coffee shops, gyms in the bar street, and high-tech parks, fun co-working spaces. They have become a vibrant part of the urban landscape. Let me tell you, according to the latest data, the number of single women in Beijing has exceeded 1.3 million, of which 920,000 are high-quality single women over 32. But these women are not in a hurry at all. They think that if they wait patiently, something good will come along. But let me tell you the blunt truth, which may offend someone. They are unlikely to find anyone, because they all meet the following characteristics. First, most of these women are from other cities and don't own property in Beijing themselves. They demand that men do. If they do own property, they become even more demanding, specifying the total price, location, and size of a man's condo compared to their own. Secondly, these women are extremely selective. They expect men to be superior to them in every way, adhering to a better-to-have-none than a bad one attitude. I'm 35, older, single, a migrant worker in Beijing, and I really want to find a partner. I often oscillate between anxiety and indifference. I'm a homebody and rarely have opportunities to meet new people, so I always feel that finding a partner is difficult. 4 years in Beijing, I've gotten used to one person in one condo for daily 3 meals, all 4 seasons. I fell and spent over a month recovering, feeling missed the entire autumn. Now, my arm is slowly healing, and my focus is still on finding a husband. I'm 35, can earn money, and can cook, so I want to find a partner before the end of the year. Do you guys think I still have a chance? In Beijing, the bigger the city, the easier it is for women to remain unmarried. The current male-to-female ratio in Beijing's matchmaking market has reached a staggering 1 to 9. But this is just the surface. The truth is far more heartbreaking than you imagine. As early as 2018, the single rate in first-tier cities had already exceeded 60%. Generally, the girls who come to the matchmaking shop are quite well off. They all appear to be white-collar workers. So, given their good qualities, how do they gradually become older singles? The answer is actually just one word: expectations. The blogger says, what do many women expect? They expect the man to own a house, to be highly educated, successful, and handsome. He should be presentable in public and capable in the kitchen, and ideally a devoted simp, loving only you for life. But think about it the other way around. Would a man with such good qualities really choose a leftover woman? Is it true that Beijing doesn't require bride price for marriage? The truth will overturn your perception. People often ask if Beijingers don't require bride price for marriage. The answer is actually quite simple. It's not absolute, but rather they don't insist on it or compare it to others. They value sincerity. The concept of a bride price simply doesn't exist in the old Beijing tradition. It's more about a symbolic expression of good fortune. For example, the groom might give 10,001 yuan, symbolizing being the best one in a million. The bride's family would reciprocate with 9,999 yuan, hoping for a long and lasting marriage. The amount isn't large, but the sentiment is strong. Most Beijing families are very open-minded now, especially those with only one child, who believe their assets will eventually belong to their children and that they won't rely on bride prices to amass wealth. The blogger says that bride prices do exist in Beijing, with ordinary families typically paying 14,000 and wealthier families paying 30,000, often accompanied by a condo, a car, or gold and silver jewelry. However, these are all voluntary acts agreed upon by both parties. There's no fixed standard, and exorbitant bride prices are unheard of. Many parents, upon receiving the betrothal money, will hand it over to the young couple as a startup capital for their new home. A characteristic of Beijing bride prices is that they are usually reciprocal. The bride's family often provides a dowry equal to the bride price. Both sets of parents do this to help the young couple build a good life together. I've recently started dating a guy, and if nothing unexpected happens, we should get married. Although we've only known each other for 3 months, things are progressing very smoothly. On our 4th meeting, he unexpectedly came to my home and met my mom. Later, we both felt like an unseen force was pushing us forward. Before, I didn't believe anyone could get married within 6 months, but now I do. It's just that the two compatible people can confirm their feelings to each other within 2 or 3 months. Looking back, our first meeting laid a very good foundation. The blogger recalled that their first date was for Japanese food. During the meal, she casually complimented the sweet shrimp, and unexpectedly, a little while later, the waiter brought out another plate. She was wondering if the wrong dish had been served, but the man said, "This was specially added for you. Didn't you just say it was delicious?" The blogger didn't even know when he ordered it, and this small detail warmed her heart. He made a good impression on her from the first meeting, and now they're at a stage of discussing marriage. I don't need a bride price to marry you, but after marriage, the man must agree to 5 conditions. First, he must guarantee that he won't live with his parents after marriage. Second, all living expenses and housework must be shared equally. Third, I have the final say on whether to have children, how many, and when. Fourth, all expenses from pregnancy to postpartum care must be borne by the man. Fifth, after the baby is born, if I stay home full-time to take care of the child, I should be paid the same salary as a nanny every month. If I choose to go back to work, we can split the childcare expenses 50-50. Guys, do you think these demands are excessive? To tell you the truth, during blind dates, if someone seems like a good match, they really won't pursue you aggressively. If they think you're great and suitable for a relationship, at most he'll give you a little response and wait for you to take the initiative. At this point, you're both moving forward. If he feels that getting along with you is incredibly difficult, he'll definitely back down immediately without hesitation. He won't waste time with you. Guys, right? A while ago, I met a girl who was exceptionally good in every way, a master's graduate earning $56,000 a year and very pretty. Her biggest worry is that the men she likes don't like her back, and those who like her she can't compromise with. This is actually a typical dilemma for older women. To be honest, men in the dating market have a very clear bottom line: marriage and children. Medically speaking, a 32 or 33-year-old woman, considering the time spent dating and marriage, is basically considered an elderly mother. This is why many eligible men hesitate when they see someone in this age group. The blogger's advice to older women is to find someone suitable in all aspects, with good character and a focus on marriage and children first. Feelings don't need to be developed overnight, they can be nurtured gradually through everyday life. Today, I turned 35. Today is November 22nd, 2025, the 3rd day of the 10th lunar month. I am a 90s girl born from a rural area in Shanxi, working in Beijing. Today is my 35th birthday, which happens to be a Saturday, so I plan to celebrate in my small rented room. I wonder if anyone else like me, 35 years old and still not married, no children. Am I a 90s kid, seriously holding everyone back? I'm 35 years old, from a rural area in Shanxi, went to university, and have been working hard in Beijing since graduation. Today, I'm 35 years old. Anyway, the taste of each year is different, and each stop has its own scenery. The dating market in Beijing is really realistic when it comes to men's criteria for choosing a partner. The Beijing men I've met, especially those from well-off families, basically ask the first question: whether the woman has a Beijing hukou, whether her family owns a condo, and whether her job is stable. Even those with average means require the woman to be pretty, highly educated, and gentle and considerate. Frankly speaking, many men don't look at what a person is like, but rather at various material conditions. Some even require the woman to be able to cook and take care of children. Don't you think those standards are a bit too high?
为什么北京姑娘在北京？
Why can't Beijing girls compete with girls from other provinces living in Beijing? It's not because there are fewer single girls in Beijing, but because there aren't many truly beautiful girls in Beijing. That's one reason. Secondly, Beijing girls do want to marry Beijing men, but there are very few handsome Beijing men, so the men Beijing girls want to marry simply don't exist. Another reason is that Beijing girls are basically unwilling to marry men from other cities unless the man owns a condo in Beijing. Let's be honest, how many people can afford to buy a condo outright in Beijing these days? The man can only rent. Beijing girls can't get over it. She feels wronged unless this man can become a live-in son-in-law. The situation of single women in Suzhou is like the housing prices, high demand but no supply. I know a local Suzhou woman, an only child, 34 years old, pretty, with a good family background, owns a condo and a car, and has a bachelor's degree. Her parents have stable retirement security. She hopes to find a PhD from Suzhou and specifically emphasize that he must be an only child. But honestly, how many men with these qualifications are still single at 30? They've already been taken. She told me she's already lowered her requirements. However, in my opinion, the conditions aren't low at all. If you were to marry off your daughter, how much bride price would you need? I think at least $14,000 is a must, because raising a child these days, $14,000 is a small amount. Yes. Look, my daughter's college education alone cost $20,000. Yes. Do you think so? And what about the expenses from childhood to adulthood? If you don't ask for a single penny of a bride price, then the man looks down on us women. He'll think that marrying this wife cost him nothing and he can replace her any time. Yes. So a bride price is absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. Yes. That's how I think. I'm 35 years old, 1.68 meters tall, weight 48 kilograms, unmarried, healthy with no bad habits. I don't smoke, drink, play mahjong, or go to nightclubs. My social circle is clean. Some people say that at 35 or 36, it's fake to be unmarried and single. I have no reason to lie. In Northeast China, many people marry late, and I'm one of them. Because of my job, I own a nail salon, so I mostly interact with women and rarely with men. I'm not a proactive person either. There's a strange phenomenon in Beijing now. Before, when people went on blind dates, they'd ask you if you owned a condo. Now, they'll ask where your household registration is and which district it's in. Why? Because of the child's schooling. I have a friend with a household registration in Haidian district. He's not particularly good looking and his company is just so-so, but he's incredibly sought after in the dating market. Another friend earns $70,000 a year, handsome, but his household registration is in Hebei province and he's still single. You know, this is ridiculous. In Beijing, when looking for a husband, household registration is more important than looks, and the school district is more important than love. What do you think? Many people will be unable to be married in the future. This is not a joke. I think many people will truly lose the opportunity to marry. I remember when I first entered the industry, most of the people who contacted me were born in the 90s and 95s. Those 28 and 29-year-old girls had a very stable mindset. When I introduced them to potential partners, they were always uninterested, ignoring me, thinking they had plenty of time and would slowly find someone. Now, looking back this year, they are already in their 30s and the single ones are still single. Marriage can be without exorbitant bride prices, but it cannot be zero. I don't believe that high bride prices equate to a happy marriage, but I firmly believe that zero effort and zero sincerity are a high-risk combination for marriage. The bride price is indeed like a mirror, reflecting the man's attitude and sincerity towards marriage. I've always believed that a truly good marriage is never about bargaining, but about you seeing my risks with children and me understanding your struggles. It's about two clear-headed souls finding each other on the scales of worldly standards and emotions. The balance point here. Men who are obsessed with bride prices are basically poor, and there's a high probability that some will try to take advantage of women. I think that if a man has reached marriageable age, even if he doesn't have a car or a condo, if he can't come up with a $14,000 bride price, he's unqualified. It means he hasn't reached the point where he can support a family. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.